If you were to rank all 21 weapons that were available to us in the flights in order of worst to best, how would that ranking look? Well, today I'm going to attempt that. If you guys don't know anything about me, my name is Slick. I'm a content creator here at Breaking the Clutch. We do Halo videos. We have for a very long time. Hopefully that gives me enough tenure to at least talk about the guns in this game, provide some insight to you, and I'll tell you why I think some guns are good and some guns are bad, and why they got the numbers that they deserve. There are 6 weapons on this list that are special because they weren't technically usable in actual PvP matches. They did not spawn on the maps in the flight, and you were not able to use most of them. However, I'm going to include them on this list because we were able to tap into them in a special little custom game glitch. The worst weapon that wasn't purposely included in this flight is that of the Disruptor. The Disruptor is a weird electric shock pistol that is semi-automatic and seems to do a little bit of damage, not a lot. Maybe since every weapon has a headshot multiplier, maybe this gun has potential to be good, but it just seems like it's kind of like a sidearm that they just kind of included in the game. I think with the cool electric shock gimmick like the shock rifle and the shock grenades is kind of cool to have in another weapon, especially one that's semi-automatic like this, but it just feels really underwhelming. All right, now next we have a two-way tie between 2 guns that were in the flight unintentionally, but just weren't really playable in the right sense. The first one is the Stalker Rifle. The Stalker Rifle is a weapon that was teased in a couple trailers and a couple different Windows Insider bits, and we did not get to see it in this flight. When you tried to select it in the custom game, it actually wouldn't even let you select it. You couldn't even use it. The second one is that of the classic Energy Sword. We weren't able to use this one properly. We were able to hold it in custom games, but we couldn't actually go around and start swinging at people, lunging, or anything like that. So I'm not ready to throw it into this list just yet. Might have to do another list down the road. All right, next are a few really cool guns. They're kind of all equally tied just because I didn't get to use them enough in PvP to properly rank them. I wish that I could have more, but I just didn't. Coming in at one of the most underwhelming yet unique spots is that of the Forerunner Cinder Shot. The Cinder Shot is a really cool gun in a sense that when you hip fire it, you can just shoot it and it bounces off walls and there's a small explosion. It's really underwhelming in terms of damage, but when you scope in ADS, it has this really unique gimmick where it actually tracks your shot. So when you shoot it, you can actually guide it slightly around corners. However, I will say that it remains down at the bottom here just because it's a little more underwhelming. Next is the classic Sentinel Beam. Yes, they brought it back. Sentinel Beam feels about the same that it did in Halo 2 Anniversary and Halo 2. It's a very unique gun, of course. It's really hard to keep and track on target, but it feels about the same, and I didn't get to use it enough again. I'm sure no one else did either. So let's just keep it stuffed down at the bottom here in the honorable mentions. Next is that of the Hydra. They brought the Hydra back, but it's different this time. It no longer has like 6-shot auto-tracking missiles. Instead, it's more of like a point-and-shoot gun. Maybe there's something different about it. Maybe there's another gimmick that just wasn't loaded into the custom game settings. Maybe it hasn't been updated, but it just feels as if it's going to remain at the bottom of the list for now and kind of match some other guns coming down the line. With all the honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the top 15 guns in Halo Infinite. Coming in at last place is that of the Pulse Carbine. The Pulse Carbine felt a little strange. It was very cool. It seems at mid to long range, it does track, it does hurt you, does take your shields off really quickly, but you wouldn't stick with it. You would actually combo with something like a pistol, sidekick, BR, anything that's more of an accurate shooter gun, just to get that extra headshot. The Pulse Carbine at close range is pretty atrocious and you really have to hit your shots, but at mid to long range, every single shot does seem to track fairly well. But as I said, you just wouldn't use it to finish, and that's why it's staying at the bottom of this list. Coming in at number 14 is the Plasma Pistol. This thing is absolutely incredible. It sounds great in Halo Infinite. However, it just doesn't have as much utility as I would like. It remains in the same class as the Pulse Carbine because it's more of a combo weapon. You charge it up to full and then swap to a second gun after you hit your target and take their shields off. Coming up in 13th place is actually the Mangler. The Mangler actually came into play for me when I was doing some bot matches and when I was playing training mode on the map Livewire. I actually found it in a random pickup spot and I was honestly surprised that I even had it. The Mangler's a really unique gun. It's a 4-shot kill, but it has a really long load-up time and the time between shots is honestly pretty atrocious. But I think that's why it's only a 4-shot kill. The reticle is also really unique and square and fun, and honestly, I could see myself picking this up as another combo weapon. That's why it's falling in at number 13. Coming in at number 12 is the classic Needler, the infamous Pink Mist. The Needler received a massive overhaul from Halo 5 to now, which is funny because it also received a massive overhaul from Halo 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4, and then 4 to 5, and then 5 to now. It's pretty insane how many renditions. I didn't even bring it up in Reach, but it's kind of in the same class, you know? Every single rendition of Halo has had a weird change to the Needler, until now where it's had a really, really good one. Today, in this game, it's very, very decent. I would actually put it up in a similar class to a gun that I'd have at close range at all times. Whenever I ran past it, I would pick it up. I'd even drop my assault rifle for it sometimes. Now, I might receive a lot of controversy for this one, but I'm actually going to put this next gun not even in the top 10 and leave it at number 11. And that is the MK50 Sidekick. That's right, the pistol. I'm sure as a lot of you know, as soon as the pistol was played with, a lot of people ran to Twitter, to Reddit, to YouTube to complain about the aiming and functionality of the Sidekick. It's a really complicated weapon right now. People are blaming it on aim, on controller. It's hard to use on PC, KBM. I even tried it on both, and I honestly think that controller is easier, yet still a little bit difficult. But it kind of falls in like a weird spot. It's probably the one weapon out of this entire list of guns that is kind of like up in the air with a little bit of vagueness on where it's going to land after the game launches. It might be one of the only guns in this whole list that gets a buff or a nerf, in my opinion. If not, it'll be the counterpart to this weapon, which we'll get to down the line. But as it stands, the Sidekick will remain at number 11. The rapid fire shooting is really good. The headshots, if you can land them all, make it an amazing gun. But in general, there are still so many there are literally 10 better weapons that you can pick up despite the Sidekick. Ends up being one of my constantly dropped weapons for a different one, and you'll see that as the list goes on. Coming in at number 10 is one of the weapons that I constantly drop my Sidekick for, the VK78 Commando. This weapon is a new addition to the Halo scene and is a perfect middle ground between the assault rifle and battle rifle. It kind of replaces the DMR and the awkward third wheel in terms of like the main utility weapons in the game, but I have to say that it fits in just fine. The fire rate, the small clip make it an interesting weapon, but of course if you land those 6 or 7 shots in a row directly to the head, you will get the kill every single time. The recoil makes it really complicated to maintain your shooting, but if you can really nail it down, you'll actually be one of the really tough forces to reckon with on the battlefield. And I honestly think that it would show up in competitive play. The Commando is one of my favorite weapons out right now, and that's saying a lot if it's still at number 10. Sticking with the utility favorites, let's go to the ultimate, all-time, penultimate Halo classic. At number 9, the MA40 Assault Rifle. This gun in Halo Infinite has received another overhaul with a similar appearance to how it looked in Halo Reach, but with the incredible functionality of Halo 5 on steroids. This gun is absolutely crazy. It tears through shields very quickly. Even at mid to long range, you can even tap fire it and kill people. And I think that this gun is one of the most incredible utility weapons in terms of strength, and I'd say usability even, in Halo history. I have to say that the assault rifle feels so good in this game, and it almost feels too good. I'd say once again, bringing up the Sidekick, MA40 AR and the Sidekick, being your 2 weapons of choice when you spawn as a utility, creates a very dynamic duo. I have to say the complicated effectiveness of the AR and then the awkward precision of the Sidekick make the two go really well together. However, when I'm using these two guns, it's really hard to choose between the two of them. Sometimes I'll just blaze through my AR clip and swap to my Sidekick and just start roasting people in the head as quick as I can. But sometimes I'll also start with the Sidekick and swap to the AR and finish kills at mid to long range. I have to say that the two guns are in really close proximity to each other in terms of skill and usability, and that's why I think that either the Sidekick or the assault rifle will receive nerfs or buffs in the coming launch of the game. I honestly think that all the other weapons in the pool are pretty good where they are, but the Sidekick and the AR need to be investigated a little bit further. Coming in at number 8 has to be one of the most iconic weapons of all Halo history, and that is the BR-75 battle rifle. With Halo 5, 343 kind of brought the battle rifle in an odd direction, I'd say in the wrong direction, but with Halo Infinite, they brought it right back to home base, and it honestly feels absolutely incredible. It definitely takes a certain amount of skill to use with the hit scan usability and how you can kind of flick your reticle all over the player to still maintain shots, whereas in Halo 3 you had to lead shots, but still, the complicated aiming of the game right now definitely makes it still difficult to use. With more practice, I'm sure we'll all get really good with the BR, but as of right now, I have to keep it at still number 8. I know that's surprising, but there are still some incredible guns in front of it. I'd also put it number 1 out of the utility weapons, so it's the best out of the battle rifle, the AR, and the Sidekick. It's definitely the number 1 weapon out of the 3. I hope that we see some BR start gameplay coming in the actual launch of the game. Coming in at number 7, out of all these awesome power weapons you're about to hear about, I have to say this is the most unique, gimmicky, strange, fun, weird, yet special weapons that 343 has ever introduced to a Halo game, even after all those weapons that they introduced for Warzone. And that is, at number 7, the Skewer. The Skewer is a really fun sniper class weapon that is very unique, with an incredibly long reload time and a very finicky level of precision required to even use it. You have to kind of lead your shot because there's a serious lag time for the bullet to fly. The Skewer projectiles feel like they're mailed by pigeons. They fly so slow, and they honestly take forever to connect on enemy players. But when used properly, the Skewer is honestly one of the most fun weapons in the game. There is not a better feeling than landing a Skewer shot on someone and seeing their carcass fall and a giant missile sticking out of their arm. And no, don't bring that anywhere else. Don't go south of that. Don't be nasty about it. Coming in at number 6 is another really fun and unique weapon, and that is the shock rifle. The shock rifle is a new weapon also being introduced to the dynamic of Halo, and it seems that 343 is trying to carry on the electric static shock gimmick that both the Disruptor, the shock grenades have, as well as this weapon. The shock rifle is really interesting in a sense that you can kill someone and then it will actually chain nearby enemies with damage. You can even shoot weapons on the ground or vehicles and that electric shot will bounce off of them. I do feel like the shock rifle does have an underwhelming area of effect. When that extra shock starts bouncing around, it seems like it should be doing more damage than it is, since it's such a precision weapon, but I've been told that you can even paint the enemies and it will kill them in one shot. So that's something that'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. However, I love the design, it's so fun, and honestly it sounds great too, so I'm really hoping to see this weapon used constantly as a power weapon in the coming games. Now we've made it to the top 5. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please do us a favor and subscribe. It lets us know that we are doing a good job. If you don't like the content, that's totally fine, but we'd love a comment explaining to us why you didn't enjoy this video. It just helps us get better. Thank you so much. Moving into the top 5, we have the Heatwave. The Heatwave is a new Forerunner shotgun type thing that reminds me of some Halo 5 campaign action. However, I have to say the uniqueness and the utility of the gun is absolutely phenomenal. I love how you can change the firing mode to a horizontal or a vertical shot depending on whatever you're doing. I love to go vertical and run up on enemies and get as many bullets into them as possible with the Heatwave before giving them a quick punch. It reminds me of the classic shotgun in a way from Halo CE. If I didn't land the perfect shot, I would go for the melee right after that and kill the enemy every time. It feels really good, it sounds great, and the bounce back ricochet effect of the projectiles is really unique and really special for this gun. And that is why it is in the top 5 at number 5. Number 4 is another really special, unique, and new gun to the scene of Halo, and that is the Brute Banishedravager. The Ravager is such a weird gun. It looks very tiny, doesn't look that effective, but when you pick it up and use it, there's a giant bayonet on the end of it, just like Brute weapons should, and it fires some crazy, fiery, flamey projectiles. It also has a charge-up shot area of effect ability, where if you use it, it does kind of block off an area from your enemies being able to walk on. Number 3, it has to be the classic number 3 of all Halos, which is the sniper rifle. The sniper rifle is incredibly hard to use in this game with a very small reticle, and it's also just kind of, it's just different. It just seems harder to use. Maybe that has something to do with the aiming. I don't want to comment on that. However, I have to say that it's still the top 3 because one shot to the head will kill your enemy every time. The sound is honestly pretty decent. I was worried about it. I'm used to Halo 3 and Reach where you have this really meaty, metally sound, and now it's more of a whack. But I have to say that the sound aside, it's still just as functional as I expect it to be. Such a great weapon, one of the best power weapons, one of the most impactful weapons that you can use, and getting it on Livewire and absolutely shredding people in Objective is a lot of fun, and highly recommend it on Behemoth as well. Moving into number 2, we're finally there. Number 2 best weapon in Halo Infinite, it has to be the Gravity Hammer. The Gravity Hammer, despite losing its knockback, is now one of the strongest weapons that I've used in this game. You smack it to the ground and it instantly kills anyone within a close radius. You can get a double kill, a triple kill, an overkill. Doesn't matter. If they're stacked on you, they can die immediately. And if not, then you do actually land that first melee. They'll be immediately one shot. You just clean them up with any precision weapon or an assault rifle that you have on hand. The fact that you still have sprint in this game, even though it's not too impactful, does allow you to run up into enemy player lines and then get a quick smack, kill 2 or 3 people, and then get out without dying. It's honestly so much fun, and it's exactly what I wish the Gravity Hammer was in Halo 3. The number 1 weapon in Halo Infinite, as of playing this flight, might come to a surprise if you've counted your way down to this point. There's obviously one missing. The last weapon in the game that I have to say is the best overall is the CQS48 Bulldog shotgun. When I first heard that they were getting rid of the classic shotgun from Halo CE 2 and 3 and even Reach, I was honestly dumbfounded. I was baffled that they would have the gall to even remove this iconic weapon from the Halo sandbox. However, Introducing the Bulldog has to be the best complement to this weapon pool overall out of every single gun that I've picked up. The Bulldog has such great utility. At mid to short range, you can just clap enemies with a few shots. I think it's 2 or 3 at close range. And there's even a headshot multiplier with it, which is just crazy to me. But it has to be the best weapon that I've used in the entire beta. I would, no joke, if I had a sniper and a battle rifle, I would drop the sniper for the Bulldog almost every time on Livewire. I absolutely love the gun, and if you didn't get a chance to use it, you have to pick it up and just run a train on people in PvP. Highly recommend it. Definitely the best overall, and my favorite weapon in Halo Infinite thus far. That concludes my entire list. I think that's every single weapon that we saw in this most recent flight. There is still a high chance that more weapons will come out, and those honorable mentions may actually be played with in the next flight in Big Team Battle. So if you guys did like the content, please leave a like on the video, only if you liked it, and then of course leave a comment below if you have any, I guess, differing opinions on my list, and if you think my list is garbage, please let me know. I think it's totally fine to smack a content creator out of their ego cloud. If you think that someone's wrong, you should speak your opinion and let me know, and that's totally fine. Please keep your eyes out. Of course, Halo Infinite's going to be around for 10 years, so we're going to be trying to upload content very frequently here on the channel. I said daily. I don't know if it's going to be daily. We're going to try our best. Tell you what, if we get more traction and we do better on this channel, then we will be uploading daily. That's just how it works. So if you did enjoy the content, let us know. Otherwise, my name is Slick from Breaking the Clutch, and we'll see you guys next time.